The Philippines is made up of over 7,000 islands, but most travelers only see a handful. Scattered like gems across the sea, this archipelago sits where the Pacific Ocean meets the South China Sea, a place shaped by centuries of trade, conquest, and deep cultural roots. Each island holds a different rhythm, a different soul, untouched by time. Beyond the usual postcards lie islands few have heard of. Volcanic cliffs, quiet lagoons, shores glowing with fireflies. These aren't tourist spots. They're living secrets waiting to be found. Before we journey through these extraordinary places, let's take a moment to uncover a few incredible Philippine facts you may not know. In the remote islands of the Philippines, coastal communities didn't just build near water, they created extraordinary stilt architectures that appear to float between sea and sky. These hanging habitats use sophisticated indigenous engineering with foundations anchored directly into coral reef structures or rocky seabeds. The stilts themselves are carefully positioned to minimize wave impact through flow-dispersing patterns discovered through centuries of observation. Most remarkable is how builders calculate different tide patterns throughout the lunar cycle, positioning living platforms precisely above the highest annual storm surges. During certain tides, these structures appear to hover impossibly on water's surface, with their reflections creating perfect symmetry. This maritime architectural adaptation represents traditional hydrological knowledge that modern coastal engineers are only beginning to appreciate. Across the scattered islands of the Philippines exists an extraordinary cultural achievement: indigenous celestial navigation systems of remarkable precision. Long before GPS or compasses, island seafarers developed star mapping techniques allowing journeys across hundreds of miles of open ocean. These systems combined stellar observation with wave patterns, encoding navigation into complex oral traditions, songs, and sometimes physical star charts made from bamboo, shells, and cord. Different island groups developed distinct navigational methods, the Sambawan track star paths that appear to jump between islands, while Visayan seafarers memorize over 200 individual celestial reference points, creating invisible highways across seemingly empty seas. Most astonishing is how these systems incorporate seasonal variations, enabling navigators to adapt routes based on monsoon patterns and migratory bird movements, creating multidimensional maps existing entirely within cultural memory. The Philippines contains one of Earth's most remarkable evolutionary laboratories, islands so isolated that 50 to 70% of their species exist nowhere else on the planet. This extraordinary endemism stems from the archipelago's unique formation islands that were never connected to mainland Asia, forcing life to evolve in magnificent isolation. Some islands formed their own micro-evolution zones, where even neighboring islands just kilometers apart developed completely different species. The Palauan peacock pheasant developed iridescent feathers that change color based on specific light angles in their unique forest habitats. Tarsiers evolved specialized rotating necks, compensating for fixed eyes that grew disproportionately large for night hunting in specific forest types. Most remarkable are sky islands, mountain peaks rising from lowland forests, creating isolated high-altitude environments where evolution accelerated dramatically, producing species that adapted to ecological niches as small as single mountainsides, genuine evolutionary laboratories operating in parallel for millions of years. Retry Claude can make mistakes. Please double-check responses. Palaui Island. Floating off the northeastern coast of Luzon, 30 kilometers from the mainland, lies a place so geologically distinct that scientists believe it literally sprang from the ocean floor. Upon first glimpse of Palaui, you might wonder if you've somehow teleported to another region entirely. While mainland Luzon features limestone landscapes, Palaui's dramatic terrain emerged from ancient volcanic activity. The contrast is so profound that geologists confirm the island has no geological resemblance to the land just a short boat ride away. A protected landscape and seascape since 1994, this island sanctuary harbors 50 hectares of undisturbed coral reefs and serves as critical habitat for 90 species of migratory birds. The waters surrounding Palaui boast 21 different commercial fish species, creating one of northern Philippines' most vibrant marine ecosystems. The island's crown jewel stands sentinel at its northern edge, Cape Engano Lighthouse. Built in 1892 during Spanish colonial rule, this weathered structure has guided ships through treacherous waters for over a century. The climb to reach it winds through windswept meadows, granting panoramic views so reminiscent of Batanes province that locals call it mini Batanes, yet without the crowds or commercialization. Unlike many Philippine destinations, Palaui remains largely undeveloped. No resorts interrupt its coastlines. No restaurants serve international cuisine. Solar power provides the only electricity to small fishing communities living much as they have for generations. Visitors either stay with local families or camp on beaches where sea turtle tracks sometimes mark the sand at dawn. UNESCO recognized this extraordinary place by designating it a protected landscape and seascape, but no designation can capture the feeling of standing on shores that seem untouched by modern tourism. What other islands have maintained such pristine conditions in an increasingly connected world? Gigantes Islands. From one natural wonder to another, except this time, the magic lies in both nature and legend. Rising from the waters off Iloilo's coast stands the Gigantes Islands, a place where myths and limestone create something otherworldly. Can an archipelago truly be named after giants? In Gigantes, local folklore tells of enormous human bones discovered in the 57 caves scattered across these islands. Coffins containing oversized human remains reportedly inspired Spanish colonizers to name this place Islands of Giants. Whether truth or imagination, the islands certainly live up to their larger-than-life name. Cabugao Island, despite its name meaning small in local dialect, delivers a monumental visual impact. This tiny landmass features a dramatic narrow strip of white sand with lush green forest on one end and jagged rock formations on the other. From its central viewpoint, photographers capture what has become one of the Philippines' most iconic yet still relatively unknown landscapes. Perhaps most magical is Tangke Saltwater Lagoon, a natural infinity pool carved into ancient limestone cliffs. Ocean waves crash against the outer walls, occasionally spilling into this sheltered turquoise basin during high tide. Swimming here feels like discovering nature's perfect swimming pool, hidden from all but the most determined travelers. The island's abundance extends to seafood harvests unlike anywhere else in the country. Here, scallops are so plentiful that locals sell them for just 1 peso each, approximately 2 cents. These trillion-dollar scallops, named for their shell pattern rather than their price, have become symbolic of the island's natural wealth. When tides retreat, another marvel emerges, Bantayan Sandbar, a winding ribbon of perfect white sand stretching into crystalline waters. This ephemeral land bridge allows visitors to wade across to small islands normally separated by sea, revealing how the archipelago constantly transforms with tidal rhythms. Gigantes isn't merely a beautiful destination, it's a testament to how isolation can preserve both natural environments and traditional ways of life. Despite growing visitor numbers, most people still live from fishing and small-scale farming, with tourism providing supplementary rather than primary income. Ticao Island. Midway between Luzon and Visayas floats Ticao Island, 129 square miles of biodiversity, largely overlooked by standard tourism routes. What makes Ticao extraordinary lies mostly beneath its surrounding waters. Just offshore, An underwater formation known as Manta Bowl serves as one of the world's most reliable cleaning stations for oceanic manta rays. These majestic creatures, with wingspans reaching up to 23 feet, gather here to have parasites removed by smaller fish. For divers, witnessing these ocean giants glide through deep blue waters creates lifetime memories that rival encounters with any land-based wildlife. The island's marine wonders don't end with mantas. Between December and May, particularly in April, nutrient-rich currents attract another ocean giant whale sharks. Though these spotted leviathans are the world's largest fish, they feed peacefully on microscopic plankton, allowing snorkelers to safely observe them in their natural environment. On land, Ticao offers Halia Nature Park on its northern coast. This pristine conservation area maintains a modest environmental fee of just 25 pesos, about 50 cents, ensuring its protection while remaining accessible. Hidden waterfalls cascade through dense forests, creating natural swimming pools where few tourists venture. Traditional fishing communities dot the coastline, maintaining practices passed through generations. Their outrigger boats, called bancas, set out before dawn and return with catches that supply both local tables and regional markets. Unlike heavily touristed areas where traditional industries have disappeared, Ticao's economy maintains its historical balance. Accessing Ticao requires determination flights to Masbate City, followed by a ferry to Lagundi Port. This multi-stage journey keeps crowds away, preserving the island's authentic character and pristine environment. When is the effort of reaching a remote destination part of what makes it special? Calayan Island. Far north of Luzon, where the Pacific Ocean meets the South China Sea, floats Calayan Island so isolated that it harbors wildlife found nowhere else on Earth. The Calayan rail, a flightless bird with distinctive black and white markings, was only discovered by science in 2004. This remarkable creature, endemic solely to this island, serves as living proof that some places remain so remote that they continue to surprise even modern scientific knowledge. Part of the Babuyan archipelago, Calayan can only be reached when seas permit travel between May and October. During other months, powerful currents and unpredictable weather make the crossing too dangerous for all but the most experienced local mariners. This seasonal isolation has preserved both natural environments and cultural practices increasingly rare elsewhere. At Nagudungan Hill, jagged volcanic cliffs drop dramatically into azure waters. The coastline's rugged beauty rivals world-famous destinations, yet here, you might be the only visitor on any given day. Sea stacks and wind-carved stone formations create landscapes that seem designed for photography, yet remain largely uncaptured by mainstream media. Sibang Cove presents the island's most perfect beach, a crescent of white sand embraced by forest-covered hills. Unlike Boracay's manicured shores, Sibang remains wild, sometimes going days without human footprints marking its pristine sands. The cove's protected waters offer safe swimming in an otherwise wave-battered coastline. Life on Calayan moves according to nature's rhythms. Electricity runs just a few hours daily, typically from 6 p.m. to midnight. Cell phone signals appear briefly at certain island locations, then vanish. Internet connectivity? Rarely available. What most consider modern necessities become luxury here, creating an environment where genuine disconnection occurs naturally. Can you imagine a place where news of the outside world arrives mainly through occasional visitors? Where nights reveal star patterns city dwellers forget exist? This is Calayan, challenging to reach, but impossible to forget once experienced. Bantayan Island. Some hidden wonders remain hidden not through extreme isolation, but through the protection of those who discover them. North of Cebu, where daily ferries make access relatively simple, Bantayan Island demonstrates how a destination can remain authentic despite growing accessibility. Unlike more famous Philippine beaches, Bantayan maintains what many popular destinations lost decades ago: genuine character. Despite steady visitor growth, the island retains its fishing village soul. Each morning, outrigger boats return laden with the night's catch. Markets bustle with locals buying fresh seafood at prices unaffected by tourism markup. Roosters announce dawn from every neighborhood, a sound increasingly engineered out of more developed destinations. Paradise Beach lives up to its ambitious name with powdery white sand so fine it squeaks underfoot. The water clarity creates an optical illusion where shallow areas appear almost invisible, with boats seeming to float above sand rather than water. Nearby Virgin Island, accessible by boat rental for approximately 1,000 pesos, offers similar visual magic without the development found on the main island. Land exploration reveals hidden aspects of island life invisible from shore. Trike tours circle the island for roughly 500 pesos, passing through small villages where coconut farming remains a primary livelihood. Limestone caves pierce the interior landscape, some containing freshwater pools perfect for cooling off during hot afternoons. What makes Bantayan special transcends its physical beauty. The island exists in that increasingly rare sweet spot developed enough for comfortable accommodation and reliable meals, yet undeveloped enough to maintain authentic character. Electricity runs consistently. Mobile signals work reliably, yet traditional life continues visibly alongside these modern conveniences. As one traveler aptly described, visitors often leave conflicted whether to tell the world about this wonderful place or keep it your little secret. This sentiment captures the essential dilemma of discovering hidden wonders in an age of mass tourism and instant information sharing. Siquijor Island. Some places remain hidden not through geography, but through reputation. Siquijor carries the distinction of being an island many Filipinos themselves hesitate to visit. Known throughout the Philippines as Island of Fire, due to the mysterious glow created by thousands of fireflies illuminating its shores each night, Siquijor has long been associated with mystical practices. Local folklore speaks of mangkukulam, witches, and mambabarang, sorcerers, practicing ancient magic in the island's interior forests and caves. Traditional healers prepare love potions, protective amulets, and medicinal concoctions, using methods predating Spanish colonization. These supernatural associations kept many domestic tourists away for generations, inadvertently preserving Siquijor's natural environment and cultural practices. Today, more adventurous travelers discover the island offers natural magic far more tangible than any superstition. Camiguin Falls presents a series of tiered turquoise pools cascading through dense jungle. Unlike heavily developed waterfall sites elsewhere in Southeast Asia, Camiguin maintains its natural character with minimal commercial development. Rope swings hanging from overhanging trees allow visitors to arc through the air before plunging into refreshing waters below. The island's most famous natural wonder stands near the town of Lassi, a 400-year-old bolete tree whose massive aerial roots create a curtain descending to a natural spring at its base. The spring waters host tiny fish that provide natural fish spa treatments to those who dangle their feet in the clear pool. Local belief holds that supernatural beings dwell within this ancient tree, a claim that seems more plausible at dusk when shadows lengthen across its massive trunk. Despite slowly gaining recognition among international travelers, much of Siquijor remains undeveloped. Coastlines feature small, family-run accommodations rather than major resort chains. Inland areas preserve traditional farming practices and folk healing traditions that blend Catholic and pre-colonial spiritual elements into unique syncretic forms. Would you visit an island others avoid due to superstition? Would you seek traditional healing from practitioners whose methods blend centuries of empirical plant knowledge with spiritual beliefs dismissed by modern medicine? Siquijor challenges visitors to look beyond conventional tourism, offering experiences that engage not just with natural beauty, but with alternative worldviews. Tawi-Tawi. At the Philippines' southernmost reach, where the country nearly touches Malaysia, lies Tawi-Tawi, an archipelago so remote and misunderstood that even most Filipinos themselves haven't ventured here. Security concerns have long kept travelers away from this predominantly Muslim province. Yet those who make the journey discover an island group unlike any other in the Philippines, where Filipino culture blends seamlessly with Malay, Indonesian, and indigenous Sambawan influences to create a distinct regional identity. Bantayan Island boasts what many consider the country's most spectacular sandbar, a winding strip of blindingly white sand, stretching nearly 3 kilometers into turquoise waters. During low tide, this narrow land bridge extends so far that it's visible from passing aircraft. Unlike famous sandbars elsewhere in the Philippines, you might have this one entirely to yourself even during peak season. History runs exceptionally deep here. Sheikh Karim Al Maktoum Mosque, constructed in the 1380s, stands as the oldest Islamic place of worship in the Philippines, a reminder that Islam reached these shores over a century before Spanish Catholicism arrived with Magellan. The original wooden structure has been replaced, but the site's historical significance remains undiminished. For panoramic views encompassing dozens of islands, climb Bud Bongao, a sacred mountain where locals leave offerings of fruit for macaque monkeys that inhabit its slopes. From the summit, islands stretch toward the horizons of both the Sulu and Celebes seas, creating vistas found nowhere else in the country. Perhaps most fascinating are the Sama de Laut people, often called sea gypsies, who traditionally lived their entire lives aboard boats, coming ashore only rarely. Though modern circumstances have forced many to settle in stilt houses along coastlines, their profound connection to marine environments and remarkable free-diving abilities remain legendary. Some elders can still hold their breath for extraordinary periods, descending to depths that would require scuba equipment for most people. Tawi-Tawi asks travelers difficult questions. Are you willing to venture beyond travel warnings? Can you approach cultural differences with genuine curiosity rather than preconceptions? Will you recognize beauty in unfamiliar forms? For those who answer yes, the rewards include experiencing aspects of Philippine diversity rarely captured in standard tourism narratives. Dinagat Islands. Between Mindanao and Leyte floats a geological wonder that became the Philippines' newest province, only in 2006, the Dinagat Islands. Massive rock formations distinguish Dinagat's landscape from other Philippine destinations. Unlike the rounded limestone karsts of Palawan, Dinagat features angular monoliths jutting dramatically from both forest and sea. Geologists attribute this distinctive terrain to the island's rich mineral deposits, creating rock compositions found nowhere else in the country. Lake Bababu presents Dinagat's most extraordinary natural feature, a brackish lake with a remarkable secret. An 800-meter underwater tunnel connects this inland body to the open ocean, creating a unique ecosystem where freshwater and saltwater species coexist. Strong swimmers with proper equipment can actually navigate this submerged passage, emerging from lake to ocean in a journey through darkness. Explore the islands further to discover Hagakak Cave, where stalactites and stalagmites create cathedral-like chambers deep within the earth. Or visit pristine Bitag and Tagbarayan beaches, where white sand meets crystalline waters without development interrupting the natural coastline. The caves, lakes, beaches, and other prime attractions of the islands represent just a fraction of Dinagat's natural wonders. Bitag Beach, San Juan Cave, Lake Bababu, Hagakak Cave, Tagbarayan Beach, Legazpi Waterfalls, and Quano Cave all offer distinctive experiences for visitors willing to venture beyond standard tourist routes. Dinagat's remoteness and relatively recent emergence as a tourist destination mean infrastructure remains basic. Accommodations are simple, transportation informal, and amenities limited. But these constraints preserve the island's raw beauty and authentic community life elements increasingly rare in more developed destinations. What price would you put on exploring a place that still feels genuinely undiscovered? Would you accept basic conditions to witness landscapes unlike anywhere else in the Philippines? Dinagat poses these questions to every visitor who steps onto its mineral-rich shores. Sambawan Island. Sometimes the smallest places hide the greatest visual impact. Sambawan Island in Biliran Province barely registers on maps, yet delivers panoramas worthy of National Geographic covers. This tiny islet features a dramatic spine of rolling hills connecting two distinct beach areas. Climb the viewpoint for a 360-degree panorama that captures the essence of the Philippines' scattered geography, islands of all sizes, floating in seas, transitioning from turquoise shallows to deep blue depths. Sambawan's eastern and western beaches offer completely different experiences, despite being just a short walk apart. The protected western side provides calm waters perfect for snorkeling above vibrant coral gardens teeming with tropical fish. The eastern shore faces open ocean, where waves create natural infinity pools among rock formations carved by centuries of wave action. The island's biological richness extends beneath the waves. Vibrant coral gardens host diverse marine life, making this one of the region's premier snorkeling and diving locations. Despite its small size, the underwater topography creates multiple distinct environments supporting different marine ecosystems. Accommodations remain minimal, basic cottages and camping areas with no luxury amenities. Electricity comes from generators running only certain hours. Fresh water is limited. These constraints preserve Sambawan's pristine condition while deterring casual tourists seeking comfort over experience. To reach this hidden wonder requires multiple transportation modes: flights to either Tacloban or Naval, land transport to port towns, then outrigger boats to the island itself. Each transfer filters out more travelers, ensuring those who finally reach Sambawan's shores truly want to be there. Would you endure this journey for views that remain seared in memory long after returning home? Would you accept simplicity to experience beauty that hasn't been photographed countless times? Sambawan makes these questions unavoidable for anyone considering the trip. Camiguin de Babuyanes. Two islands in the Philippines bear the name Camiguin, causing persistent confusion. The more famous one near Mindanao attracts steady tourism. We're not talking about that one. Camiguin de Babuyanes, the other, Camiguin, floats in the Babuyan Channel north of Luzon. This volcanic island remains nearly untouched by tourism, despite offering landscapes that combine elements of Hawaii and Iceland in Filipino form. Black sand beaches edge shores, where hot springs bubble up through volcanic soil. The stark contrast between dark sand and turquoise water creates visual drama rarely captured in Philippine tourism materials. Inland, dense forests cover slopes leading to the island's volcanic peaks, creating microclimates that support unique plant communities. Offshore, the waters surrounding Camiguin de Babuyanes host one of the Philippines' least known natural spectacles. Between February and May, seasonal migrations bring humpback whales close enough to witness from small fishing boats. These massive marine mammals travel annually between feeding grounds in the North Pacific and breeding areas in the Babuyan Islands, yet few tourists ever witness their passing. Traditional fishing villages maintain practices largely unchanged for generations. No large resorts have arrived to transform local economies or landscapes. Electricity remains intermittent, telecommunications unreliable, and transportation dependent on weather conditions, a set of circumstances that preserves authentic island life but deters mass tourism. The island's isolation has preserved not just natural features, but cultural practices increasingly rare elsewhere. Traditional boat-building techniques survive here, with craftsmen creating vessels specifically designed for local sea conditions. Fishing methods adapted to local marine environments still support families as they have for centuries. Community celebrations maintain distinctive regional characteristics rather than homogenizing to please tourists. Reaching Camiguin de Babuyanes requires exceptional determination, typically involving multi-day journeys with weather-dependent boat schedules and limited accommodation options upon arrival. This journey filters out all but the most committed travelers, ensuring the island remains genuinely off the beaten path. What makes such a challenging journey worthwhile? The opportunity to witness a Philippine island functioning on its own terms, not as a tourism product, but as a living community where natural and cultural forces remain in traditional balance. Britania Group of Islands. Off Surigao del Sur's coast in Mindanao, 24 islands and islets scatter across blue waters. The Britania Group, possibly named after British sailors who once sheltered here. Unlike archipelagos requiring expensive boat tours, Britania's islands remain accessible to budget travelers. Small outrigger boats ferry visitors between islands for reasonable rates, making this hidden wonder available to more than just luxury seekers, a democratization of island hopping increasingly rare in the Philippines. Each island offers distinct character. Hagonoy Island forms a perfect teardrop shape when viewed from above, its narrowing sandbar stretching into clear waters. Nearby, Naked Island, or Hioran, lives up to its name, a pure white sandbar without vegetation, seemingly floating atop crystal waters. The minimalist perfection of this island delivers maximum visual impact, with no distractions from its pure sand meets sea aesthetic. Britania's islands remain largely undeveloped, with minimal structures and no permanent settlements on most. This preservation stems partly from their protected status, and partly from their distance from major tourism centers. The result is an island hopping experience closer to exploration than to commercial tourism. The mainland town of San Agustin provides simple accommodations and restaurants, serving local seafood at prices unaffected by tourism markup. From here, boats depart early morning when waters remain calmest, returning by late afternoon. This rhythm of daily visitation without overnight stays has helped preserve the island's natural conditions. Britania offers something increasingly rare: island hopping experiences, free from commercial pressuring or overcrowding. Visitors can still find beaches entirely to themselves, particularly on weekdays or during shoulder seasons. Photography enthusiasts discover compositions uninterrupted by crowds or development, capturing images that seem to come from decades past rather than present-day Philippines. Could these islands remain this way? Or will they follow the development path of more famous Philippine archipelagos? For now, they represent what many travelers seek: beautiful tropical islands where nature's aesthetics remain undisturbed by commerce. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the Philippines' hidden islands. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more incredible explorations.